The thing about feeling angry is that there is usually something that someone has done to make you feel angry. Maybe they're not washing the dishes, maybe they didn't pick up their clothes. But the thing is that you love that person, you care for that person. You don't want to be overly angry because you don't want to destroy that relationship, but you want to communicate your feelings and you want to communicate your need in a way that that person can receive it. You want to communicate your need because you want your needs to be met, but you also want to maintain the relationship. So there's two things that are happening. You have to communicate your emotion and your need, and you have to do it in a way that that person can receive it so that you can maintain the balance and the consistency and the stability of that relationship. If you communicate your need in an aggressive, frustrated way, that person's going to be defensive, turned down. That is also going to rupture the relationship. So you don't want to rupture the relationship. One of the best evidence-based ways to do that is not only to communicate the emotion that you're feeling, but also to do the opposite action. What does the opposite action look like? What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome. This is Phil's Guide to PsyD. My name is Dr. Phil Sarpon. I'm a clinical psychologist. And let me just start off by saying this. Anger is an emotion. It's not necessarily a bad or negative emotion. I don't even like to say things like positive or negative emotions because honestly, emotions are just emotions. They're a part of who we are. Oftentimes, emotions can be used for all different types of good and positive things. Sometimes it's helpful to be angry if you're trying to protect yourself or a loved one or in self-defense. And so there is utility and usefulness and purpose in every single emotion. I think the problem is when we don't know how to control or regulate that emotion, that it becomes a problem, especially with our loved ones. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of psychoeducation with you all today, and we're actually going to talk about some of the emotions, the more common emotions that we often can pinpoint. That would be feeling bad, surprised, happy, sad, disgusted, angry, or fearful. If we get to being angry, we notice a few things. And so being angry can look like feeling let down, humiliated, bitter, mad, aggressive, frustrated, distant, or critical. And then it can also look like feeling betrayed, resentful, disrespected, ridiculed, indignant, violated, furious, jealous, provoked, hostile, infuriated, annoyed, withdrawn, numb, skeptical, or dismissive. And oftentimes what I tell people is you want to locate what emotion you're actually feeling. You want to communicate the emotion that you're feeling because it's going to be important that the emotion that you're feeling is communicated to the other person in a way that they can then receive what you're actually feeling. And so that person's less likely to be defensive, and now you both can target the behavior rather than the person. And oftentimes it just starts with saying, hey, I feel X, I feel angry, I feel critical, I feel distant, I feel aggressive because of this action that you did, which provoked a certain reaction from me. Now, there is a technique called in dialectical behavior therapy called opposite action. The opposite action looks like actually being nice to that person when you feel angry towards them. Now, you can still communicate the anger. You can still communicate the frustration. You can still communicate feeling let down and bitter and angry and provoked or hostile or infuriated. But what your action looks like is actually a little bit opposite from that anger. We feel anger, right? You've communicated that you feel angry. What is the opposite of feeling angry? Let's look in that emotion wheel and look at what we can find. So from what we can see, the opposite of anger is happiness. Now, this might seem kind of disorienting because it's like, well, I don't feel happy. I feel angry. Yes, you feel angry, but you want to communicate your anger, but you also want to maintain the relationship. The best way to maintain the relationship is to act in a way that maintains the relationship. One of the best ways to act in a way that maintains the relationship is going to be in this category. So what are some ways to communicate anger and frustration, but to display a sense of opposite action? When you feel angry and you communicate your anger and your frustration, you can then go towards that person in a way of playfulness, maybe content, maybe interest, maybe pride or feeling or accepting that person, maybe having some powerful emotions towards them, or being peaceful towards them, or trusting or optimistic. If we go a little bit more, you can see that the actions and expressions get a little bit more specific. Maybe feeling aroused or cheeky or free or joyful or curious or inquisitive. Maybe feeling successful or confident or respected or valued or courageous or creative. Maybe feeling love towards them, or thankfulness, or sensitive, or intimate, or hopeful, or inspired. Now, again, this can feel like there's a discongruence or an incongruence with the way that you're feeling and what you're exhibiting. But remember, you can still communicate anger and frustration, but maybe you are then exhibiting respect towards that person. Maybe you're exhibiting love towards that person. Maybe you're exhibiting thankfulness towards that person. Maybe you're exhibiting some hopefulness towards that person. When you exhibit the opposite action of what you're feeling, while still communicating what you're feeling and experiencing the full depth of what you're feeling, but you're exhibiting a sense of control, of compassion or love towards the person that you love, that you want to maintain a certain relationship with, now you have two things. You have a both and approach. It's not either or. It's not I'm angry, but I'm going to discredit my angerness and I'm just going to act as if I'm positive. No. And it's not, I'm angry and I'm going to show the full wrath of my anger regardless of how this person feels. It's, I feel angry, I'm resonating with that anger and that frustration, I'm communicating that anger, but I'm acting 1%, 2%, 5% a little bit more positive towards that person because I want to maintain and I respect the depth and the intimacy of that relationship. And so even though I feel angry and frustrated, I'm reacting to that person in a loving and kind way. This is incredibly the opposite of what we want to do. But if we want to maintain the relationship, we have to do something that shows the person that we value the relationship, even when we are at our worst. I would love to know. Put it down in the comment section below. Let's talk about it as a community. And if you like and you value this video, please like and share this video with others, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And hopefully I will see you all in the next video.